سلام، من مدیوبر هستم. در چه حالی؟ امشب اومدیم با هم دیگه یه ویدیو فوق‌العاده پشم‌ریزون ببینیم که توی اون ویدیو اینطور ثابت میکنه که زمین گردآلو یا کروی نیست و میگه که زمین تخته، برخلاف همه تصورات و برخلاف همه باورهامون، چیزایی که بهمون یاد دادن و از اول کردن تو مغزمون که زمین کرویه و زمین نمیدونم. شاید الان داری میگین چرت و پرتا چیه داری میگی؟ چرا ولی واقعیت همینه. حالا من مستندش یه بار نشستم دیدم و حقیقتا پرام ریخته، هیچ پشمی واسم نمونده. به شما هم پیشنهاد میکنم ادامه ویدیو رو با من باشید و حتما ببینید اینو و به طور رایگان اپیلاسیون شید و اینطوری هیچ نیازی هم ندارید به اپیلاسیون و سری و این چیزا دیگه. خلاصه اگه از ویدیویی مثل ریاکت، ولاگ، گیم پلی، طبیعت گردی، آنباکس و کلا تو این هیته خوشت میاد، حتما چنل من سابسکرایب کن، اون زنگوله نوتیفیکیشن بغلش هم آن کن، یه دونه لایک هم واسه من بذار که بیشتر برای بقیه ریکامند شه ویدیوی من و اینطوری خیلی حمایت بزرگی از من میکنی. اگه آماده ریزوندن پشماتون توسط مدیوبر هستید، بریم سراغ ویدیو. خوب دقت کنید چی داره میگه ها. تا اینجا داره یه باورای درست رو توضیح میده، تا اینجایی که هممون میدونیم و طبق باورامون، طبق اون چیزایی که بهمون گفته بودن میدونیم که داستان چیه و چی نیست. اینو داره توضیح میده.
If nobody told us otherwise, we'd logically assume that the Earth was flat, motionless, with everything in the sky revolving around us. Now you can prove that this is the case as well. For instance, with the horizon, as you rise up, no matter how high you go on the top of Mount Everest, or if you go in a balloon higher and higher, we've gotten independent balloons have gone up with cameras. The horizon remains flat all the way around. That's one proof. Now, if the Earth were a ball, no matter how big, the horizon is said to be.
واقعا این مسئله پشیزونه. یعنی مگه میشه آقا زمین تخت باشه؟ چجوری؟ خیلی سوالای عجیب غریبی میاد تو ذهن آدم، ولی خب یه سری فرضیه ها اینجا میاد میگه که البته اثباتش هم میکنه که واقعا زمین تخته. حالا یه ذره بریم جلوتر با هم دیگه اونا رو میبینیم.
The curvature of the ball.
If you were to go to NASA, it's all fraud, it's all fake. Pretty much everything NASA puts out is.
اینو قبول دارم، راست میگه. ناسا چرت و پرت زیاد میگه. There's a reason why NASA never pans its camera 360 degree while filming. زیبا بود انصافاً حرفش. یعنی همه اینا خالی بندیه، چجوری آخه؟
Including the one they called the big blue marble, which was released in 2002, I think. Zoom into it with Photoshop, you'll see where they've used.
پرام کلون شده اینا. دقت کنید تو تصویر، نکنید دیگه دایره کشیده دیگه، دارید میبینید خودتون. یعنی باور نکردنیه. یعنی کسی که نشسته تحقیق کرده اینا رو در آورده.
Clone tool in Photoshop to take a picture of one of the clouds and stamp it in various places around the picture. They got lazy.
If the Earth is 25,000 miles in circumference.
بچه خوب اینجا رو دقت کنید، نه که اگه زمین دارای 25,000 مایل محیط باشه، باید هر مایل در حدود 8 اینچ انحنا داشته باشه. خب کامل دقت کنید اینجا رو، چون بعدش میرسیم به یه موضوعی که خیلی مهمتر از اینه. میخواد یه مثالی بزنه که این انحنا اصلا نیست و زمین صافه. خوب دقت کنید، خوب بخونید اینجا رو.
1 mile means there should be an 8-inch curvature drop. 2 miles, 2 times 2 times 8 is 32.
خوب دقت کنید، یعنی اینجا رو استوب میکنم که کامل نگاه کنید، کامل متوجه شید، کامل دقت کنید به این نکته هایی که داره میگه.
That's 32-inch drop. 3 miles would be a 72-inch drop, and this would exponentially continue. Here's the longest bridge in the world, the Danyang Kongchong Grand Bridge in China, 102.4 miles long. There should exist.
دقت کردید به اون داستانی که گفتم خوب بهش دقت کنید دیگه، چند ثانیه پیش داشت توضیح میداد. بر اساس اون فرمول ریاضی که گفت، اون انحنایی که گفتش باید وجود داشته باشه طبق مثلا هر انقدر مایل، اینجا تو این عکس ما باید یه انحنا ببینیم. خودش الان اینجا توضیح میده. ببینید.
feet of curvature drop in that bridge. 7,000 foot curvature drop. Do you see it? It ain't there. Look at the horizon. It's
پشمام. 7,000 فیت میشه 2 کیلومتر انحنا. یعنی تو این تصویر ما باید 2 کیلومتر انحنا ببینیم که خیلیه، ولی همچین داستانی نیست. چون نمیدونم چه سیاست کثیفی که ما رو اینجوری بار آوردن و نمیدونم اصلا واسه چی میخوان این واقعیت رو پنهان کنن که زمین تخته. نمیدونم شما چی فکر میکنید؟ چرا دارن این واقعیت رو پنهان میکنن ازمون؟ حتما توی کامنت ها نظرتون رو بهم بگید.
You can see in that dive shot that the inside camera, the horizon is completely flat. Then it goes to the outside, and you got a huge curve. But when you're looking at some of the amateur balloon footage, some of it's lens corrected and it's completely flat. And others, like the GoPro stuff, the horizon will fluctuate as the camera spins and tilts. The horizon will go.
خوب دقت کنید برگشت چی گفت. نگاه کنید اینجا افق کاملا صافه. به خاطر دوربین گوپرو که یه لنز واید داره، به اون دلیل تصویر محدب میشه یا مقعر میشه. یا کنید اینجا الان دوباره
NASA is essentially Hollywood, and all the images that you think you've seen of a spinning ball Earth are faked. And all the amateur
کاملا
balloon and rocket
راست میگه. واقعا حرفش درسته. خیلی خوب داره اثبات میکنه.
And that's impossible on a ball.
But why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
The person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. Imagine what you know tomorrow.
آخه چه جوری؟ یعنی من نمیفهمم. مگه میشه زمین تخت باشه؟ چرا زمین کمد نیست؟
چندش
بس دیگه. بهتره که شوخی جای خودش، علم و دانش و تکنولوژی این داستان هم جای خودش. رعایت کنیم.
My question was, why, if it's a flat Earth, why couldn't you stand on the coast of California with a telescope and see
سوال منطقی
Japan
پرسید.
or Hawaii or something? And I think you know the answer to that. I'll let you answer that.
Yeah. You can't see an unlimited distance. The lowest layer
منطقیه
is the
بازم.
densest and not transparent. So if you imagine like a hot, humid day, the haze over a road, all telescopes will eventually blur out in that same kind of way due to the air. So no, you can't see an infinite distance.
Is the Earth flat or round? It's round. Okay, now let's see.
چرت داری میگید؟ چرت نگو. کروی
Go to
نیست.
the seashore. Go to a seashore. Watch.
به دریا برید. اوکی میریم دریا.
They don't disappear.
چرته، همه اینا چرته.
No, first the bottom will disappeared. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off the table. So people realized that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved. So, the process of testing claims, the world is flat, the world is round, is what we call science. Now, if you have a claim that can't be tested, that's what we call pseudoscience.
Just fucked up, you know.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
Boats don't disappear over the curvature of the horizon. Boats
الان
disappear
ثابت
due to
میکنه
perspective.
یه چرت گفت
All you
یارو.
have to do is go to the beach, watch a boat disappear from your eye, and then whip out your telescope.
داره میگه که یه دونه کشتی کیلومترها اون بدتر هم باشه، اون آخرا تایی دریا که اصلا با چشم عادی نمیتونی ببینی، با دوربین حتی گوشی هم ممکنه نبینی، ولی وقتی یه تلسکوپ بندازی و زوم کنی کامل میتونی اون کشتی رو ببینی. و اینجا میشه اثبات کرد که زمین تخته، زمین کروی نیست. خیلی عجیبه نه؟
Your binoculars or your high-powered zoom on your camera, and you can pull the entire boat right back into view, whole mass and all. Yeah, that's right. You think the boat disappeared? Just whip out your telescope, your binoculars, or your zoom camera. You bring the entire boat back into view.
دوست دارم برم تست کنم اینو. برم شمال، فقط برای این میخوام برم شمال تستش کنم، اما فکر دیگه ای نکنم. اگه دوست دارید که یه ولاگ برم شمال و این آزمایش رو انجام بدم و واسهتون توضیح بدم، واضحه، نیاز به چیزی نیست. چرت گفتم بیخیال.
Koi just told you, and here's my video proof.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
Imagine that. You can debunk the curvature of the earth yourself with just a simple zoom on your camera. Bye-bye, little boat.
Everybody watches newscasts. You all use mobile phones. You all see airplanes fly around. You all go to see Ed Sheeran in concert one day in London.
بچه تایم ویدیو نمیخوام زیاد بشه که نهایت اینو توی یه پارت یا نهایت دیگه توی 2 تا پارت جمعش کنیم. به خاطر همین دیگه کمتر پاوز میکنم ویدیو رو و بیشتر دقت کنید دیگه خودتون.
Another day in Melbourne, Australia. This all depends on our fundamental understanding of the size of the Earth and its shape with extraordinary precision.
What the fuck did you just say?
The way we teach science is you're just some empty vessel and we pour the science into you and then you regurgitate it on an exam. Because Earth, we know it spins once a day, yes.
Off to a great start.
So
خورشید پشتش به ماست.
تا حالا میدونستی؟
نه.
پشتش به ماست. اگر برگردیم وش تمام هرچی زمین اینا رو، درخت اینا رو، کوها رو میسوزونه. کوه پشتش به طرف ماست. چیز؟ خورشید.
اینا دیدم یادمون افتاد.
So you spin, you know, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. It gets wider in the middle. And so Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the pole. Not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
فهمیدید عکس‌ها رو دیگه؟ از سال 1972 تا به الان میلادی، تا به الان عکسای زمین رو گرفته بودن و گفته بود که چه فکری میکنید ناسا زمین رو چجوری به ما معرفی کرده؟ هم چیزی، حالا ترجمه دقیقش نه.
Chubby is a good way. It's like pear-shaped. So it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level. Well, let me just so you understand. We've been fed a lie our entire, I want to call it a lie. We've been fed.
It's a point of view thing, I think.
Earth has been misrepresented to us by
science.
Pear-shaped. Pear-shaped.
Science! So they're all trying to figure out, is the universe spinning around us or are we spinning around the universe? They tell you, we don't know shit. We're looking at a bunch of lights in the goddamn sky. You're gonna tell me that that light and that light, that's 250, 100 trillion light years away? How the fuck did you figure that out? Anytime someone says anything about space, you automatically think, someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name. You don't know the name of the experiment. You didn't look into it yourself. You just think,
راست داره میگه دیگه.
how far is the earth from the sun? They'll say, oh, 93 million miles away. Like you just, everybody relies on someone figured that out and someone double checked it.
کاملا همینطوریه بچه. حالا این ربطی به این ویدیو نداره، حالا ممکنه یه ذره مربوط باشه، ولی کلا توی زندگی اینطور باشید که وقتی کسی حرفی میزنه سعی کنید ازش سند و مدرک بخواید و با سند و مدرک اون حرف رو بهتون اثبات کنه. حالا شاید یه جاهایی درست نباشه، مثلا تو فاز رفاقت اگه اعتماد کامل و 100% دارید به طرف، آره اوکی، ولی یه جاهایی واقعا نیازه. الان تو این بحثای اینجوری، تو بحثای چه میدونم در مورد تکنولوژی، در مورد علم، نمیدونم در مورد اعتقاد، در مورد تاریخ، اینجور چیزا وقتی بحث میکنید سریع قبول نکنید حرف طرف، ازش سند و مدرک بخواید و ببینید که چجوری بهتون جواب میده. ممکنه که چرت و پرت بگه، مثل این چیزایی که به ما تا الان گفتم.
You're going on what you read right now, cosmology, they don't know what the fuck to do. You know what they found out? The cosmic microwave background shows that all the galaxies are on shelves lined up to us. That we're at the fucking center. They don't know what to think about. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy going on about it.
You should see the stars do all sorts of strange motions, but you don't. You only see them make these perfect circles. That tells me that it's the star.
من مغزم نمیکشه، گنجایششو ندارم. این ستارگان هستن که حرکت میکنن، نه زمین. واقعا مغزم نمیکشه، کشششو ندارم. این ستارگان که حرکت میکنن، نه زمین. خیلی عجیبه.
Not the earth.
The Copernicus principle, the one that we live by, is that we're insignificant, we mean nothing, we're a speck in the universe. That's the heliocentric model, that we go around the sun. The geocentric model means that everything goes around us. That's what this is in the Bible, that's what the first astronomers were saying. Tell, based on these observations, everything's...
البته بچه بگم توی فکر کنم تورات اگه اشتباه نکنم به کروی بودن زمین اشاره کرده. من رفتم توی قرآن سرچشم کردم ولی چیزی ندیدم که آیه‌ای باشه که گفته باشه که زمین گرده یا زمین کرویه. توش یه شک و شبهه‌ای هستش، به خاطر همین خیلی بیشتر اطمینان و اعتقاد دارم که زمین تخت میتونه باشه.
Earth is the center of the universe and we stand still and the universe spins around us.
You know what, they've lied so much, NASA's lied so goddamn much that I don't believe shit they say.
They've got that satellite image of that frozen moon. What's that frozen moon?
Oh, let me see if that's CGI. Find that they got a picture of a frozen fucking moon? I guarantee you it's CGI. No way they could take a picture.
Heliocentric model is in trouble. Watch as the sunlight shrinks and follows the sun. It's definitely a locally illuminating sun, not far away, not very big, and definitely not 93 million miles away.
بابا مگه میشاخه؟ ولم کن. مگه داری؟ چجوری؟ دقت کنید واقعا فکر میکنید که خورشید میره پایین؟ خورشید غروب میکنه؟
There's a place in Bolivia called سلاااااااااام.
خیلی دوست دارم اینجا رو برم. قبلا هم عکس و فیلماشو دیده بودم. خیلی جای قشنگیه.
100 miles wide one way and 80 miles across. And it's perfectly flat. And when it rains, literally you get an inch of water and it looks like a perfect mirror. Now how does that happen on a sphere? Yeah, it shows you that, you know, if you're one end of this salt flat, you can see perfectly clearly the other end 100 miles away. So it's just showing you that, you know, the Earth is flat, and without the effect of the waves in the sea, you'll be able to see.
پشمام بابا دیگه چجوری ثابت کنه زمین تخته؟ کامل داره میگه. البته گل اصلیشو همون اول زد و همون داستان فرموله و منحنی و انحنا و این داستانا قطعا یادتون هست. چجوری؟ ولم کن خب ببینم آقا جمع کنید بریم خدافظ. بس دیگه چقدر شوخی میکنی؟ سرسنگین باش. تلخ بی‌نمک. نظرتون چی تو کامنت ها بگید.
The television station basically said it was a mirage.
I found this photo, Grandmere State Park. This is from Joshua Nowicki, and what you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage of the Chicago skyline. Very interesting here. Here's what's happening. This is a good example of a superior mirage. So Joshua was on the Lake Michigan shore.
سرابه باشه دوبار.
Towards the west.
چرت نگو bitch.
The horizon should not be able to see it. However, with the right conditions, we have an inversion. We have cold air near the cold lake water and some relatively warmer air above it. This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. And so typically we would not be able to see this. This image would be viewable from much, much higher in the sky.
They always say it's a mirage, but for a mirage to happen, you have to have very specific atmospheric conditions. You know, it's not a mirage. It's simply that you're looking across a plane.
یک سراب واقعی. چه پارادوکسی داشت. پشمام. یک سراب واقعی رفت تو مخم.
Now, how come in all these ball pictures, man, you can see all the continents pretty much, and there's just a little bit of clouds here and there. Man, it's like some of these pictures, like there's some where they show the Earth at night, and you can see all the lights and stuff. It's like, you're telling me the entire continent?
Woo! Woo!
Continent, like you can see Africa and all these
Jeez!
Stuff like, you know, if you turn on your porch light, I guess you can see it from space, apparently. And it's like there's no clouds in some of these pictures.
And they spelled out the word sex, right, recently, probably a few months ago in one of the clouds.
But, you know, if they do their research, they say, well, those are composites.
What?
And I said, well, how come they copy and paste the clouds on some of these? And they use the same cloud form. Like, if you're going to make a composite, but you shouldn't be copying and pasting clouds. That means you're adding stuff that's not real.
Yeah, and the thing is, those pictures that you're talking about, the blue marble pictures, you know, I think there's about maybe 8 to 10 of them over time.
You like you're crazy. But really, you are the sane one for asking real.
They actually go horizontal. The space shuttle goes horizontal.
حق میدم بهتون، فکر کنم خیلی شوک شده باشید یا شاید هنوز باور نکرده باشید که بابا مگه میشه اینا چرت و پرته، همچین چیزی نیست، همچین داستانی وجود نداره.
It never goes any further up. It goes horizontal, very very low down in the atmosphere. You know, it's still in the atmosphere while it's horizontal, so it never gets any higher. And it goes out of sight, not because it goes too high, because it goes too far downrange. And they have a plane that's mocked up to look like a space shuttle. It's a jet-powered aircraft. That's it. It's not a glider. It's an aircraft. And that's what they're fooling us, taking billions of dollars in and giving us images and fake planes for that 10 billion, you know, however many billions of dollars it is. What goes up must come down, and literally we have not ever seen anything that has ever gone up and not come down.
چقدر میره بالا.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
یعنی چی آخه بابا، این همه فضانورد چی کار میکردن این سالا؟ البته این وسط یه سری داستانه اومد بیرون سر اینکه آپولو چرت و پرت بوده و اصلا هیچ انسانی روی کره ماه پا نذاشته و همه اونا تصاویر ساختگی بوده و نمونه مثالی که مثلا زدن اینه که چرا رد پای فضانورد روی ماه باقی مونده بود در صورتی که اونجا آدم بی‌وزنی رو تجربه میکنه و نیروی گرانش اونقدری نیستش که تو وزنت اونقدری باشه که جای پات، رد پات بمونه روی اون کره.
Kicks and deals. It's a long fly ball going back, and the ball shatters the sky, bringing the ocean itself down into the stadium. Oh, Simpson just broke this dream's reality wide open.
I know we have still not
شاید این انیمیشن عجیب غریبه.
but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
There's no place to go.
Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all
people figured out that we were an enclosed system, the more advanced we got, it would be the biggest thought on our minds. That's all we care about. You could make a wildlife preserve 1,000 miles square. All people, all human beings would do is just be knocking on the fence constantly, going, why is this fence here? Who built the fence? Why are we in here? And so on and so on.
Why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
Earth, 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 yep, 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 Earth, Earth, yep, 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 yep.
حس میکنم بهم خیانت شده. انگار تو الان یه عروسک خیمه شب بازی بودم.
Yes, Thomas. Why don't we fall off when we walk underneath, Miss Sarah? Because of a force called gravity. What does gravity look like? Gravity is something we can't see. But we know it's a great invisible force that keeps us all here on Earth. It's a natural force that keeps us all from flying off into space. We were always told that the world is flat.
You are told right. Don't listen to her.
The law of gravity was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton in 1687. That's almost 200 years ago, Uncle Evan.
But there is only one law. The law of God.
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things.
حس میکنم باحال این یارو.
We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is? I don't know. Einstein, in an Einsteinian answer, we would say gravity is the curvature of space and time. And objects will follow the curvature of space-time, and we interpret that as a force of gravity.
دلم نمیاد ویدیو رو قطع کنم 2 تا پارتش کنم. مثلا اون یه دونه پارت باقی بمونه همینو تا تهش بریم. خیلی جذابه خدایی.
That's probably the best answer I can give to a what is gravity question. Or why is there gravity? That's the best I can do there. I think that's a good start.
سوس ماست داشت.
How do you brainwash? You repeat the same thing over and over again. You know if somebody's resisting the concept, if you keep fucking repeating it, they'll incorporate it in their brain. Since you were a kid, you've seen this image. But you've never seen it from that point of view. But your brain has three-dimensionalized, oh yeah, that's the Earth. How? Through repetition.
Well, let's just all get on our hands and knees and wait for a scientist or an astronaut to come along, or Neil deGrasse Tyson to come along and bestow upon us their knowledge.
The entire world all agree that it's real. I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. Reynolds.
فرگشت. What?
Matter tells space how to curve. Space tell. Did I get that right?
The science community is ignoring a lot of the things that we're looking at, and so normal people are going out and doing experiments. And one of the experiments has turned up an amazing fact that we've not been told, and it destroys the whole idea of this heliocentric system, and that is the moon. Now you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade, the opposite from the sun. So the moon is throwing out its own light, and that light is the opposite from the sun. Now that tells you that it's not reflecting the sun's light. It's producing its own, and its light is different from the sun's. So, the scientific community have not told us this.
Everyone knows, like, if you're in sunlight, it's colder in the shade, right? So if it's 100 degrees in the sun, it's 90 degrees in the shade. You go to the moonlight, like, especially in a full moon, especially if it's high in the sky, the moon is its own independent object. It is not reflecting the sun rays. The sun is its own object. Also, about the same size. The moon fits so perfectly in front of the sun during an eclipse. We always thought it was coincidence that even though it was 400 times farther away, that it was also exactly 400 times less diameter, which is why it fits. And the other weird thing about the moon, which everyone thinks, oh, it's just a coincidence, is that we never see the other side of it. It's constantly perfectly rotating, so we only see one side of the moon.
عکس سازمان ملله که اینجا داره نشون میده زمین تخته. باورتون میشه اینو؟ دیگه حالا
When I look at the people who signed the Antarctic Treaty, and all the nations that were down there doing whatever they were doing signed a treaty, and I believe it was 1958 or somewhere thereabouts, saying no, nobody can stake a claim to Antarctica, and if you go down there, you can only go down there for scientific reasons under carefully restricted guidance.
It's the only treaty that's you know, all these countries have signed and never broken and completely agreed on. It's the only one. You know, what treaty is there that everybody's agreed on?
چرا نمیذارم ما بریم اونجا؟ چیو دارن قایم میکنن؟ یعنی ته زمین اونجاه؟ نظرتون چیه شما؟
During 3 voyages lasting 3 years and 8 days, Captain Cook and crew sailed a total of 60,000 miles along the Antarctic coastline, never once finding an inlet or path through or beyond the massive glacier.
سوال منم بود.
So the other question is, well, how come ships don't go off the sea if it's flat? How come ships don't fall off the end? Well, here's
حتما بعد سوال شما هم باشه که آقا مگه نمیگی زمین تخته؟ خب اوکی، من بعد به عنوان مثال این الان زمینه. خب ما اینجوری بریم برسیم تهش چی میشه؟ میافتیم پایین؟ چه اتفاقی میفته؟ حتما باید این سوال تو ذهنتون باشه دیگه. حالا بریم جوابشو بگیریم. کامان این چه جوابی بود؟ خب راستم میگه دیگه، نمیخوام بدونم دیگه. اینا رو دیگه نمیدونیم، دارن از همون قایم میکنن.
on a ball spinning 1,000 miles an hour.
The sailor thinks that he's traveling around the Earth this way, when in effect he's traveling around the Earth this way.
They began flying it around the world from Abu Dhabi last year, with stops in India and China, then across the vast Pacific.
Does running around your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
From a cockpit, weather permitting, I could see hundreds of miles in all directions, viewing cities connected by roads across the flat plain as far as the eye could see.
خب این بود از پارت 1 این داستانای عجیب غریب. نمیدونم باورش کنم نکنم، واقعا مغزم دیگه قد نمیده. الان ساعت 3-4 نصف شب دارم این ویدیو ضبط میکنم. واقعا الان نیاز دارم برم یه ذره قدم بذارم. مثلا قفل کردم، با اینکه بار چندمه دارم، هر دفعه که میبینم قفل میکنم. نمیتونم باور کنم اینا رو، خیلی سخته واسم هضمش. توی ویدیوی بعد، پارت بعدی، اگه دوست داشتی توی کامنت ها بهم بگید حتما که من پارت های بعدیشم بسازم، و با لایک کردن خیلی میتونید از من حمایت کنید. توی ویدیوی بعدی میخوام این مسئله رو بهتون توضیح بدم و بریم توی فاز شواهد و سند و مدرکایی که ثابت میکنه ناسا همه چیزی که درست کرده تا الان رو بهمون نشون داده ساختگیه، یه فتوشاپ، افتر افکت، 4 تا ادیته. به عنوان مثال یه نمونهشو واسهتون بزنم، کسی که توی فضاپیما بود، توی فضا بودش، رو هوا معلق بودش، اونم چیز میز میخورد و اینا. اونجا یه سند و مدرکی بهتون نشون میدم که ثابت میکنه با یه دونه سیم به اینجاش وصل شده به سقف و در واقع اصلا تو فضا نیست، روی زمینه و با سیم معلق مونده، مثل فیلم‌های هالیوودی مثل اسپایدرمن که رو هوا نگرش میدارن و با پرده سبز حذف میکنن و فکر میکنید که این الان پرواز کرده رفته رو هوا و اینا، افکته. اینم دقیقاً همونه. توی ویدیوهای بعدی اگه خوشتون اومد البته میریم یه چند تا از اونا رو میبینیم که شاید خیلی عجیب غریب باشه واسهتون. خب بچه‌ها این بود از پشم ریزون ترین ویدیویی که میتونستید تو تاریخ عمرتون ببینید. من که واقعا باورم نمیشه اصلا همچین قضیه، یعنی میخوام باور کنم نمیخوام، خیلی بین دوگانگی موندم، نمیدونم واقعا چه جوریه. خلاصه که خیلی عجیب غریب بود. تا این ویدیو خیلی بالا رفته، بخاطر همین تون حرف میزنم، نمیخوام بیشتر از این معطلت کنم و سرتو درد بیارم. سپاس متشکرم، مرسی ممنون از اینکه ویدیو منو دیدی. لایک، کامنت و سابسکرایب و روشن کردن اون زنگوله نوتیفیکیشن یادت نره. خیلی دوست دارم، ممنونم که حمایت میکنی ازم. کوچکتم مخ